Yeah, there are some of the House of Payne fans who are kind of taking opposing sides on Junior, Calvin Jr., the son of Calvin and what is her name? Eva Marcel's character. I cannot think of her name to save my life in the series. But basically, Calvin Jr. has been lashing out, and that's why he's been staying with his dad, for a while to kind of, get him back in line before sending him back to his mother's house. And just recently, he overheard Calvin telling CJ about the fact that he's still in love with Miranda, but well, then again, Calvin Jr. scurried away before he heard the rest of what, his dad said. And he confronts his dad about it. And, Calvin isn't, too fond of this. But even if you go back to the whole mother son dance from a few episodes ago where Junior's mom couldn't make it because of a work thing, and it was a choice that Calvin claimed was his own. It's like, hey, Junior, you can pick between Laura and Miranda of who you want to go with. He picks Miranda, Laura gets her feelings. Calvin asked his son about it, and when he said, well, Laura's cool and everything, but I like Miranda more, and you ought to get back with her. Hey, you better not say anything like that again. And then by the end of the episode, Miranda bowed out so Laura could have, that moment with Calvin Jr. And I didn't like that episode. I really didn't. So we're following up on that. And the question is Junior doing too much by not staying in a child's place? And I'd say that, for one, yes. But my issue is this, that Calvin takes after his dad. He is seemingly incapable of having a conversation with his son, where obviously, yes, his son is still a child, but at the same time, he is grown enough to grasp the concept of, Dad, you're not being honest to either of these women, and it seems to me that you're not being honest with yourself. And I feel like that's what pisses off Calvin even more, is that his son has a good point, but it's like, how dare, it's basically I'm your parent, and it's like when, what's that whole the meme that goes around, like, when you ask your parents a question and all they can say is because I said so, as opposed to giving you a full-on answer. And I think that it's kind of a disrespect to Calvin Jr. because, yes, Junior is your son. Yes, you could be upset because I think that honestly he's afraid that his son is going to mouth off to Laura, because he almost did when in the clip that got released last week for this week's episode, we see Junior with his backpack saying he's going back to his mom's because he doesn't want to cause any trouble. And then, when Laura is asking him about it, and every time Junior is about to say something, his dad shuts him up. So I think that Calvin is failing to realize that what you're doing is setting a very bad example for your son, because your son is going to look at how you are treating these women, and he might be a player himself, someone who gets multiple baby mamas or claims they're in love with one woman in a relationship with her, but then on the same time is also falling for another woman. It's just really crazy when you look at it from Junior's perspective. I mean, let's not forget that his mom obviously didn't have the best dynamic with Miranda, when he was an infant, and who knows? I mean, well, then again, I think even in this reboot, Junior mentioned how he and his dad didn't have a good relationship because every time he saw his dad, it's because it's his mom sent him over to Calvin to be the disciplinarian, and then she would always talk about how, oh yeah, he forgot about us and he's off with these other women and starting families and whatnot, and you got left in the dust, that kind of thing. So I feel like Calvin is wrestling with his own feelings, but at the same time, he's shortchanging his son by not having a sit-down conversation with him. And one could argue that it would be a little bit easier to have this conversation with Junior, because with Christian, this kind of conversation would be very emotionally traumatic, because you'll be putting the son you have with Miranda in emotional turmoil, if you're like, well, I still love your mom, but I'm about to get married and I'm not sure what to do, because then he would be, it's almost like you're giving him false hope. So I honestly feel like Junior isn't doing too much, because Calvin immediately said, "Oh, so you eavesdropping," without realizing that, well, don't you want to ask your son why he was listening in? Because I think he said he either forgot something or he was about to ask his dad something, but he just so happened to walk in and overhear the part where it's like, I'm still in love with Miranda, but then he ran off before Calvin could finish saying what he had to say. So it's like that, what's that movie? Was it Eve's Bayou and Soul Food? I see those memes where it's like, you know what, these kids are doing too much by not, minding their own business. I forgot the girl's name, but, or is it Jessie Smollett? Not Jessie. Jessie, the girl who's been in like a bunch of stuff like Roll Bounce, wasn't she? Black Canary and the Harley Quinn movie and a bunch of other stuff. But I just feel like and then the boy in Soul Food, you got these kids who aren't staying in a kid's place, but in Calvin Jr.'s situation, you can tell it's definitely close to home. Tracy, that's her name. Eva Marcel's character, Tracy. So his mom, Tracy, and then, his stepmom or former well, I don't care if it is former stepmom, but Miranda, his stepmom, like, a second mother to him. And then, you have the potential third mother figure being Laura, who he really isn't that close to. So yeah, Junior is, he's in a weird situation. But in terms of like starting that argument and whatnot with his dad, I really want to know how that argument started, because obviously it started before they even got to the scene at the condo. But then, the cops show up, and then Junior is sad because his dad was willing to go to jail if it meant protecting him for an argument he started. But yeah, I just really hope that Calvin at some point is able to have a mature conversation with his son, but most importantly, come to grips with his own deceitful ways. Like, I still can't get over the fact that every time Laura goes out of town for even the smallest thing, the first thing he does is call up or interact with another woman. This dude does not need to be married. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Junior is doing too much by stepping out of a child's place? Do you think he has every right to be curious about the way his dad is moving? Because from his perspective, it looks rather shady. And I mean, who are you to teach me to be a man when you are being a player and doing a pretty poor job at it? I mean, you got Nick Cannon stats coming up here with all these kids running around and baby mom. I don't know. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.